You're watching Word Masher, Sunday, May 11th. When I was about 15, I heard the word Fnord. And, you may be going, what are you on about? Why are you talking about this word? Fnord is this joke that came up in the Illuminatus trilogy, a series of books that was written by some guys in the 70s, I believe, I'm not sure. Influenced a lot of pop culture in a certain set of mind. Yeah, very people who like joking about conspiracy theories, that Scientology, that sort of shit, you know. I heard it through a family friend, and it just struck me though, because at the time, this was the early 2000s, you still read everywhere, you know, you read the main paper, you read the news. And yeah, Fnord was basically this word which is subconsciously inserted into broadcasts and articles that makes you feel bad. You know, the idea being that actually you don't feel bad about all this terrible news you read, it's just something that they slip in to make you feel bad. It's like a suppressant. It's something that everyone is inculcated into from birth, and they never realise it. You just stop seeing it. I mean, these days it's not the same anymore. You know, the mainstream media is dead. You know, sure they still exist, sure they still put stuff out, but at the end of the day, it's not the only source of intellect you have. Yeah, you can figure it out yourself if you want to. So, I guess Fnord is dead, but the reason I mention it is because if you read the news, if you read articles, if you read books that have come out recently, it's very much a case of we are heading towards a bad place. I mean, living in Britain, personally, I'm in a shrinking economy. The workforce hasn't been trained correctly to fill the needs that are actually out there, so there's no jobs for people who are, you know, Fnord is the barrel of the gun, which I feel like I'm staring down because of the fact that I'm about to graduate with a degree in history. It's very much that I don't feel like I have any opportunities to really take this degree anywhere. You know, I don't see, there are not people standing on the rooftops going, we need history graduates. No, there are people who want bilingual customer service representatives and people who can code in computer language. You know, it seems that these days you need to have at least 2 languages, whether they're human languages or robot languages, doesn't matter. You have to be able to speak more than one. And so, as a native English speaker, I feel very ignorant and rather surplus to requirement. So I guess that's where the Fnord comes in. It's like you read an article about the state of the economy. We are transitioning to a period of Dickensian wealth inequality once more. That, you know, these super managers, as Thomas Piketty in his book Capital calls them. You have these super managers, and then you have people like Paris Hilton who are just inherited wealth, and they've captured the mechanics of government. You know, the levers of power are not in the hands of the people who it is claimed that they represent. And so, you know, it's hard to see what comes next because there's so much apathy and there's so many, you know, bad examples. People look at the past and think that's how the future must be. If I said, you know, go out and revolt, then you would say, yeah, and look what happened to Soviet Russia. Well, maybe you would go, alright, yes, let's revolt, but I don't want to be some leader. I'm not saying get the guns and shoot all the bankers. I mean, it's like Russell Brand, really. He says we need a revolution in the way we do things, but he doesn't mean a guns out, last one against the wall deal. He means we need to adapt our hierarchies and our situation and, you know, reform society in a revolutionary manner. We need to break with the discredited past, and I think that's the most important message you can take away from a lot of his stuff. What we are living in now is we're at a tipping point, a pivot, and we've got to act or we're just going to fall into the abyss. So yeah, that was cheerful. I see a lot of parallels in the situation that we're in now and the discussion that Alan Watts stated, in 1973. And here I am 40 years later saying the same thing. We've become obsessed with money as a symbol. If I rolled up on a desert island in my shipwrecked boat or whatever, and I had a suitcase full of US dollars, they would be useless. You can't eat them. And this objection to money and monetism and so on has gone unheard, apparently, it seems. This complaint is quite powerful, really, and yet it's hard to imagine a world without money. It's almost impossible for some people, and that's the real problem, I guess. This has been Sunday's Word Masher. Like, comment, subscribe. I do want to hear your opinion. Perhaps I've been a bit blasé so far, but feel free to drop me a line. I have a Twitter that I do check, but I haven't posted anything on yet because I try and save my thoughts for video. Have a nice day.